Hi everyone and welcome back to Heimler's History. In this lecture I'm going to teach you how to write the second most dreaded of the AP History exam essays, the long essay question, or the LEQ. Now, okay, step one, read the question. And when I say read the question, I mean read the question. Look at it carefully, dissect it. Always remember, I never tire of saying it, that when you're under pressure, you are dumber than you think. So take a minute and really digest what the question is asking of you. Mark the historical thinking question that is embedded in the question. If it's a causation question, you're going to need to write a causation essay. Take a minute to mark the time frame they give you in the question. And this is crucial because whatever evidence you use in the essay must come within that time frame. So if the time frame they give you is 1492 to 1700 and you build the most brilliant essay in the history of history writing, but your evidence comes from December 31st, 1491 at 11:59 p.m., you get no credit. So take that minute to really understand the question. It clears your mind and helps you focus. Step two. Write an argumentative thesis. I've said it before and I never tire of saying it. Don't let your theses be feces. Now, a history teacher named John Irish has done great work in helping us understand the difference between a fecal thesis and a regal thesis. That doesn't even rhyme. Are you going to heckle me the whole time? So your thesis needs to be an argument. Somebody should be able to look at it and say, I disagree with that, or I agree with that. And the formula that John Irish has put together is very helpful in this, and here it is. X, however, A and B, therefore, Y. And here's how it breaks down. X is the strongest point against your argument. A and B represent the two strongest points for your argument, and Y is the position you'll be taking in your essay. And here's a good example of the formula in action from John Irish. The taxes which were implemented following the French and Indian War were viewed by Americans as harsh and unfair, leading to anger and frustration. There's your X. However, it was the denial of basic political rights, there's your A, along with a beefed up presence in enforcing policies which had long been ignored, there's your B, which gave rise to a sentiment within the American conscience. Therefore, while economic factors like taxes were important, political and social factors were significantly more important in bringing about the American Revolution. And there's your Y. Now that's a top-notch thesis from a history teacher, and yours does not have to be nearly that elegant, but it should follow the formula. So take it, experiment with it, and see what works for you. Okay, step three. Get a 6. So the LEQ is scored on a 6-point scale, and while it's not easy to get a 6, it's also not a mystery. The College Board has put everything you need to succeed on this into a rubric, and so now it's time to make friends with that rubric. Oh, mon chéri, my bad. Okay. Let's go through the rubric step by step. The first point on the rubric is for the thesis, and I just covered all that, so go back and watch it if you forgot. The second point on the rubric is contextualization. Now, my advice is to make this your first paragraph, and what you want to do is use 3 to 4 sentences to set your argument in its larger historical context. A good rule of thumb here for contextualization is to start about 30 to 50 years before the time period about which you are writing. And you need to be specific in this paragraph. Don't just say 50 years before 1850, a lot of people were angry and there was lots of division. You need to tell me exactly why they were angry, who was angry, and why they were divided. Make sure to use vocabulary words. Talk about documents, talk about events, talk about elections, whatever you need to do to be specific enough to contextualize your argument. The next section of the rubric is for evidence, and you can score up to 2 points for this section. You can score 1 point here just by mentioning 2 pieces of evidence that relate to your topic. So if your topic is colonial America, you can mention salutary neglect. If your topic is the Mongols, you can mention the Pax Mongolica. But in order to get that second point, you need to use those 2 pieces of evidence to advance the argument of your thesis. Let me try to use an analogy. If you see a hammer and a nail sitting on the floor, you can get 1 point by looking at it and saying, hey, that's a hammer and that's a nail. But you can get 2 points by picking up the hammer and picking up the nail and driving that nail through a piece of wood. In order to get the second point, you actually have to do something with the evidence. Why is salutary neglect important to the advancement of your argument? Why is the Pax Mongolica essential to advancing the argument of your thesis? That's what you're trying to do. The last part of the rubric is analysis and reasoning, and for this section you can get up to 2 points. So you can score 1 point by just doing what you're supposed to be doing in the essay. If it's a comparison question, then you can get 1 point by actually writing an essay that makes accurate comparisons and analyses. But you can get a second point by introducing complexity into your argument. Now there are a variety of ways to earn this second point, and I'll let you look at the rubric for all of the different ways you can do it, but I'm going to show you what I think are the 2 most straightforward ways to earn this point. The first way is to perform the opposite historical thinking skill that is embedded in the question. If it's a comparison essay, then complicate your argument by contrasting what you have been comparing. If it's a change over time essay, then talk about continuity over time. If it's a causation essay, talk about the effects. The second way to earn this 6th point is to synthesize. And what that means is you have to apply the fullness of your argument to a different time period. Are there any similarities between your topic and a topic outside your time period? This is the place where you need to draw those connections. Now be careful. If you choose synthesis for this point, then that means you have to apply the whole of your argument to a different time period, which means if you've been arguing for social, political, and economic realities in period A, then that means you also have to show how that is similar or different to economic, political, and social realities in period B. Okay, if you do all of that, you will surely get a 6 on your LEQ. But the only way to improve here is to consistently practice the skills. So go out and practice. Good luck on your essays, and I will see you next time.